Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. This is Victoria English, top coach with Project 90. Fall is in the air and I'm really happy to be inside on this rainy day, interviewing one of my favorite alcohol conscious authors, Ken Middleton. I'm actually not really interviewing, we're just going to have a talk about an article that Ken wrote. I read it a few weeks ago and I told him it punched me in the nose. It was so good. It was just right on point. So we're going to talk about the article and Ken's upcoming book. I just love this title. Listen to this: Bamboozled, How Alcohol Makes Fools of All of Us. We're going to talk about all that and more. So Ken is an alcohol conscious writer. He's committed to helping individuals realize their full potential. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like us over here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle. He's a top medium writer in health, life, and addiction. I love Ken's articles about the alcohol conscious movement, but I also like his articles about health and fitness. He is really committed to leveling up in every area of his life. And if you ever see pictures of him, you will see that he has done just that. But Ken's a great guy, has a wonderful wife, and is just very committed to making the world a better place. Isn't that refreshing? All right, Ken, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Victoria. I was so excited when you reached out to me. I was like, yes, you were so timely because I probably was going to reach out to you very shortly. So thank you for beating me to the punch.
Yes, I interviewed Ken. We were trying to guess, how time is so weird these days. I never know if it's a month or 6. I had Ken on this podcast. If you guys look back in the old episodes, talking about his organization, Alcohol Is Not Your Friend, AINYF. And he talked a little about his experience with drinking and recognizing that he didn't really have a problem, but he knew he wasn't leveling up. He wasn't reaching his full potential. Ken, just to refresh our memories, can you tell us just a bit about your path with alcohol and becoming alcohol conscious?
Yeah, my life is very similar, probably to a lot of people you have in Project 90, in the sense that I was doing very well in life. I was a director at a top sales organization, very successful, have all the bells and whistles of an accomplished life, and actually had left corporate America at that time to start my own company. Company was doing decently well, not great, but not terrible. And the real reason I decided to stop drinking, or at least give it a try, is because I never wanted to say that I went back to corporate America before I gave a shot of doing everything in my power to be successful in entrepreneurship. And I knew, and we talked about this before we actually started the recording, is that there was a little voice in the back of my head that, hey, man, I don't know if this alcohol is really making you show up every day at 100%. And if you want to show up every day at 100%, you're going to have to put this on the back burner for a while. And I made the decision to do that. And when I did that, Victoria, it was like my business shot off. I mean, it was unbelievable. I tell people all the time, I made more money in the following 3 months of me not drinking than I had made in the previous 9 months of that year. More focused, more dialed in, more strategic with my thinking. It was unbelievable. Now, eventually I had to go back to corporate America for other reasons based on the economy not working out for me. However, the fire was set, and I just recognized that I was a much better human being without alcohol.
I like that so much, Ken. You're so aligned with our mission here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle. Ken and I had different experiences with alcohol. When I was struggling in the early 2000s, it was really a black and white question. Are you an alcoholic? And there was a quiz online, and I would visit that quiz and I would check maybe 2 of the 10 boxes. And I'd think, well, I guess I'm fine. And then I'd go back after 6 months and I'd check 3. Eventually, I was checking a lot of those boxes. And as I said to Ken, that's when I felt I sort of had earned a chair in an AA meeting. Come forward to 2022, and this alcohol conscious movement that we are a part of comes down to the question that Ken had in the back of his head. Am I really showing up for my life? Is alcohol helping me show up to the very best of my ability? And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to take a chance and say the answer is no. So if we reframe it, that is our united mission. is to reframe it. It's not, are you an alcoholic? It's what Ken asked himself. And so if this resonates with you and you think you might be a fit for us, remember, you can book a free call with Corey or me, Coach V, as they call me in the program. That's at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. You can have a chat. I'm interviewing you. You're interviewing us. Let's see if we're a match. But again, it's not, are you an alcoholic? It's just, are you out? Is alcohol making your life better? The article that I reached out to Ken about this time is titled, Why the Alcohol Industry Loves the Concept of Alcoholism. Ties right into what we were just saying. And so, Ken, tell me a little bit about the motivation for that article, the inspiration.
Yeah, it was that I remember it like it was yesterday, Victoria. So I was the reason I wrote this article is I was watching a interview. It's kind of like this, but it was a news show, and the official news show. He was interviewing this author who just had this good book. It was a book that I think you would consider Quit Lit, right, around sobriety and how she, her daughters had an intervention meeting with her. And then for that intervention meeting, she recognized she had a problem with alcohol and had to turn her life around. And she wrote this book about it and how she grew from that. Right. And so I remember the way the interviewer was talking to her, and he ended the interview, and I don't paraphrase and hear what his words were, but he was like, hey, this is such an impactful book. Thank you for writing it. I think about kind of your story. And he didn't say this, but you could see in his eyes in some respects that he kind of felt sorry for her. Like her story was a sad story. And you could see how he was like emotionally involved in it. And he ended the interview with, I'm sure your book is going to be great for people who are addicted and had a similar story and be very impactful to a lot of people out there, right? And she's like, yeah, me too, right? And ended the story like it was great. And then I remember her finishing that interview and being so upset in some ways because what she just did and what he did as well, he didn't say it, but you can see it. He completely removed himself from anybody that book could help. He did not see him as being the focus of that book, because he said people who are addicted, or people who have an addiction, this book is going to help them, not me. I don't know why. And I just made me think about, and I wrote a number of articles. I think after that was written, after I saw that video interview, the first one I wrote was Why I Hate Quit Lit. And it was around the concept of Quit Lit. A lot of times I love Annie. Annie's my girl. Like we all love Annie Grace. I mean, I tell anybody, to me, she's the queen of sobriety. But even her story is hardcore. If you think about her low and some of the stuff she was going through, you think about Craig Beck and Alcohol Lied to Me. He had some stuff that was hardcore in his world. There's a lot of, there's always these lows in these stories that I'm even like, I'll tell anybody, I never did some of the stuff that they did. I don't see myself in these stories. And I wrote that because when I think about how Quit Lit makes it seem like you got to have these lows, right? People remove themselves from it. And then that thought then got me thinking, man, I know the alcohol industry probably loves when people who only think that they should stop drinking are alcoholics, because the numbers, if you were, so in the US, it's 12% of the population would consider themselves AUD, alcohol use disorder, only 12%. So you got the other 88% of people who are drinking consistently, but not everybody does it, but the people who do, not even thinking about that. And then worldwide, Victoria, it's 1.4% that they would say or have addicted or AUD. So all those other people are not thinking. I was like, we got to change the way people look at alcohol, because just because you're not in that small percent doesn't mean you don't have a problem, if you will, or an issue.
Bingo. It goes back to me Googling the AA quiz. Am I an alcoholic? Right? Crazy. I didn't seek help because I was only checking a couple of boxes. Well, I guess I'm fine.
Yes.
Right. So I had to have some sort of messiness, some kind of war story, a drunkalog, as they call it.
Right.
And guess what? Eventually I did. So imagine for our listeners, and again, even my drunkalog still looked okay. for the most part, but it got messy.
Yeah.
But so for our listeners, it's like, well, do I want to wait until I have a drunkalog? Do I want to wait until I have some book-worthy bottom?
Right.
Would you do that in other areas of your life? Would you say, well, it's just not bad enough? If you gain 20 pounds, are you going to say, well, I'm not morbidly obese, so I guess I'll just keep going?
I love that analogy, Victoria, because I tell people all the time, I think I shared this with you. We asked earlier, who do you write for, Ken? And I just got to be honest, Victoria, I don't write for addicts. I just don't. I'm just not qualified. I don't know what it's like to sit in their shoes. I don't know what they experience. I write for individuals who they're doing okay in life. Their life is not terrible, but they know they can do better. They know in their heart of hearts, we talk about that little voice in the back of your head, that there's better out there. And your analogy about gaining 20 pounds, it hit with me, and it's so wrapped because I don't consider myself a sobriety writer. I consider myself a wellness writer. Like, this is about your wellness. So if you were, and it's interesting because it's like, if you were a vegetarian, would anyone be questioning how bad did it get? How bad did your meat consumption get for you to decide that you want to no longer eat meat? Like, and that's where I get with alcohol. Like, when you say you want to give up alcohol, everyone wants to know the backstory. They want to know how. It wasn't that bad. I just recognize, just like I don't eat meat, like I don't consume sugars or sugary drinks. Like, it's long term. It's not good, and I need to consider that.
It's a lifestyle.
Yes.
That's the name of our program, Alcohol-Free Lifestyle. We also consider ourselves a wellness company.
No doubt.
It's about living a full life, a life that is fully lived. And is it possible to do that when you are consuming this poison? And that's what I love about our coaching around substance, society, and self. I love the substance part, because you can't argue with what this stuff is.
Right.
When people say to me, well, I don't know how I got in this position. Like, I'm dedicated, I'm disciplined. I have a good life. I'm health conscious. And I say, oh, it's just alcohol being alcohol-y. It's just doing what alcohol does. It's nothing personal.
No.
It's just the drug doing what it does.
Yeah, and that's what the quit lit, like in the alcohol industry, loves when you say addiction and you're an addict, because it puts the focus on the person and it doesn't put the focus on the product. And it's the product that's the like to your it's alcohol does what alcohol does. It works.
It's booze being boozy.
Earlier. The reason people want to know how bad my life was, the reason I had to give up drinking because my life was so good. Like I had so much fun with alcohol. I was like, this is not sustainable. Like this is it's too much. Like, and I knew the hangovers. Like it's something that I know that you just can't do forever. And I just want more people to realize that, Yes.
I like what you say in this article. By the way, for our listeners, this article will be posted in our show notes. But you wrote, as it relates to the alcohol industry, the concept of alcoholism is one of the best protectors of their massive profits that are forecasted to surpass $2.2 trillion by 2025. As long as this is what everyone looks at, alcoholism, as the main reason to quit drinking, they couldn't be happier. And there's one main reason that makes this accurate. What is that one main reason that people love the concept of alcoholism?
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that people they know that as long as you're looking at that, you're not looking at the product.
It gives everyone a pass.
You don't have to consider that if you're in that category. The fact that when I think about, like, I love Annie's, like, as I said before, but I think about a story, I don't see myself in her story. Carolyn Knapp, who I love, Carolyn Knapp, it's probably one of the Drunken in Love stories, probably one of, like, not even alcohol considered, it's just a great written book. I don't see myself in Carolyn's story, right? I don't see myself in those lows, but yeah, it just allows everyone to just not put themselves in that category and to not just take that hard look to say, could their life be better? And there are just so many things that people could improve their life if they thought about it outside of having to get to that point. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, you could just level up so quickly. And I shared this with you before. That was why Jane, when I first discovered Jane shortly after becoming alcohol conscious, is that alcohol-free lifestyle and what you all do at your company resonated with me, because it was not around your life was low, but it was more so around your life could be better than it already is. And I truly, truly believe that.
Yes. You wrote, in the famous words of Kevin Hart, the way alcohol is set up, if you drink it regularly, there's a good chance you will develop a dependency over time. The only question becomes how long it will take you to do so. That ties in with when you can tell someone that you no longer drink. Ken wrote, they always respond with questions about how bad it got for me and ask, how did I know I had a problem? Ooh, people love that. They lean in.
Yeah.
Give it the little thoughts and prayers face, right? How bad was it? And you respond with, I didn't have a problem, but I quit because either A, I may have been on my way to having one. By the way, so is everyone listening. If you aren't there already, if you drink this highly addictive drug enough times, especially under the right circumstances, you will develop a problem. And B, Ken said he realized that it wasn't serving me in regards to helping me create the best version of myself. And when people hear that, they often wholly dismiss the second part and only hear the first.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, he recognized he was on his way to having a problem. And that's followed up with a thought in their head, I'm not in that boat, so I'm still safe to drink as much as I want.
And that is always why, I tell you this, Victoria, that is why, to your point of leaning in with the thoughts and prayers, because they want to hear what you say to see, do I hear anything that he says that I'm experiencing also?
Oh, yeah.
That's part of why they often want to hear, why are you making the decision?
Isn't that the truth? Nothing scared my girlfriends more than me quitting drinking, because a lot of them drank just like me or more.
Yes.
And it caused some disconnect for a while, because they thought, whoa, not Victoria stopped drinking, good for her. What does this say about me? What do I need to look at? I don't want to look at that.
Yeah. Is Victoria judging me now because she doesn't drink anymore? We used to drink the same amount. Now she's quit, and now she thinks she's holier than thou. It's real though. I mean, I've even written about that, about losing friends, unfortunately. And it's sad, but I mean, it's the reality that you will lose some friends when you stop drinking. And it's not because they don't want to hang out with you anymore. You'd be surprised. You often don't want to hang out with them anymore, unfortunately. Yes.
Isn't that being around drunk people is not fun unless you're drunk too, and then you're all, clowns together.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's funny because that's kind of coming full circle now. A few years later, we're all in our 50s now. I turned 52 in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
And some of my girls are saying, so how do I do this?
Yeah.
They're becoming conscious and aware and saying, wait a minute. Maybe it's not about, do I have a problem? It's just, do I want to live this? Is this how I'm going to live?
Yeah.
Feeling mediocre.
Hi, this is James Swanwick with a Save the Date announcement. Our annual retreat is taking place on January 19, 20, and 21 of 2023 in the country of Colombia, just outside of Medellin, Colombia, in fact. If you have always wanted to visit Colombia or you fancy a January trip abroad, join us at our annual wellness weekend, where we will have speakers, hiking, breathwork, and lots more. We did our annual retreat this year, 2022, in Austin, Texas, and 2 years ago, before the pandemic hit, we had it in Los Angeles, California. Now, in 2023, we're going international. So if you would like to join me, our top coach, Victoria English, and a whole host of Project 90 clients, past clients, and prospective clients, and you want to bring your family or your spouse, and you'd like to join us in Medellin, Colombia, January 19, 2021, then send me an email to james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com and just put in the subject line Colombia. By the way, you spell Colombia Colombia. Most Americans like to say Colombia, Columbia, but the correct spelling is Colombia, Colombia. So if you email me at james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com with the subject line Colombia, we will save your details, we will send you details and put you on the wait list. And in a couple of weeks from now, more details will be made available. Hope to see you just outside of Medellin, Colombia. Let's get back to today's episode.
I wrote an article recently as I was going through this and just writing for the book. I've explored so many different topics in the book that I'm excited to share with the world. But one of the topics was around the unequivocal age I think everyone should quit drinking.
Oh, I love that
age. Yeah, that age, I think, honestly, Victoria, is 40. I'm probably in the minority of a lot of health and wellness coaches around alcohol because I don't believe that you should not have ever drinking. I think there is a time in your life, just like there's a time in your life where you eat sugary foods and you eat fast food. Like, it's okay. Like, part of you appreciating not doing it anymore is having experienced it enough to say, okay, this is cool, but is this worth what I'm giving up for it, right? So, when you're younger, drinking and partying and being in college, like, I got to be honest, like, that is a part of college. Like, it is, like, it was a fun part of my life. But I just think when you get to the age of 40, physiologically, because of how your body changes and how your body changes the way it reacts to alcohol, you are putting yourself at so much more risk than you were when you were 22.
Absolutely.
And people just need to recognize that and see that, because that cliff, it can get there a lot faster. And just to the point of then when you're checking off those boxes, it can come way faster when you go past that age of 40.
That is absolutely true. And as you know, our community is people in their late 30s to say mid 60s, but most are in their 40s and 50s. And you're right. They say, man, all of a sudden I turned 40 and things changed.
Yeah.
What if we could look at that with the same objectivity we look at other things when we turn a certain age? If we could remove that emotional tie to alcoholism, if we could simply look at it the way we look at processed food.
Yes.
Sugar,
too much meat,
sleep quality, too much meat, gut health, right?
Yes, 100%.
Things that you simply pay more attention to when you are in middle age.
Yeah,
imagine.
Because that is to your point. So your group is the group that, honestly, when you look at the AA programs or the sobriety programs, that is the majority of people that make it up. It's people in their 40s. They talk about the functional subtype, which is, we talk about the highly functional alcoholic. It's someone typically in the age of 38 to 43, have been drinking anywhere from 17 to 22 years. And to your point, it just turns on a dime. You've been drinking fine with no issues. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day, it's just different. And it goes from you wanting a drink to you needing a drink. And unfortunately, when you get to that point, it's hard to reel it back in.
Boy, that's where you are clawing yourself out of a pit. And so for our listeners, imagine for a moment if you could look at your relationship with alcohol with the same objectivity and neutral emotion as you look at things like sleep quality, dairy, right? Are you in your 40s? Is dairy starting to mess with your tummy a little? Well, what do you do? Do you get all emotional about it and say, oh, but what is this saying about me as a person? Oh my gosh. Well, they eat dairy. They eat more dairy than I do. I'm fine. And you continue having gas and stomach upset. Like, okay, buddy, of course not. So for a moment, listeners, I invite you to look at alcohol with that same neutrality with which you would look at any other thing that might not be serving you anymore at this point in your life. We don't have we don't romanticize our past dairy consumption. Oh, it used to be so fun. Okay, well, is it fun now? No, it makes me feel terrible. Well, then why are you eating it? Well, because it used to be good and I want to go back to that. It's like, that's the insanity. But remember, again, in our program, Substance, Society, and Self, you're going to see the way Ken and I see the manipulation to which we were all subject to being bamboozled. So I hope that's helpful for our listeners.
I love it.
Thank you.
Victoria, I mean, what you said in there in regards to the relating it to dairy and being a vegetarian, eating less milk, processed meat, it was an epiphany for me, because I finally, I think, recognized as I'm writing Bamboozled and I'm doing more writing and internal reflection about where I am in my journey and what I want to do, is that me giving up alcohol wasn't defining me in the sense of that was what I focused on. That was just the beginning step of my wellness journey. Mm-hmm. And since I gave up alcohol, you were hitting them on the head. Sleep, put way much more focus on that. Yeah. Quality sleep. I'm now 30 days in, so we'll see how long it lasts. But a vegetarian, I've completely stopped eating meat.
Fabulous.
Don't eat processed foods. Mm-hmm. Cut back almost completely sugar. Like, it's a wellness journey. So the beginning of the alcohol, me doing that, it's not about me having a problem, but it was me realizing there's so many things I can do to live a better quality life. And that was just the first step. Yeah.
We're going to get there. Alcohol, we're going to get it to a point where people can look at it with that neutrality.
Yeah.
And, maybe look at the alcohol industry with a bit of outrage, like we do, and say, man, you've been joking me for a long time.
The mommy wine culture, right? Like, I'm not there, right? Because I'm not a female and I don't have kids either, right? So it's more challenging, but it does seem rather evil, if you will. And I know that's strong.
Oh, it's not strong.
When you go into a grocery store and you open up the thing to put your kid in there, and they put a wine bottle there from an advertising perspective to say, don't you want to have a drink after when you get home, to make you want to do it. It's everywhere. And they just make it seem like everybody drinks all the time and they're not experiencing any negative consequences of it. Very rarely do you see on television that happens,
You wrote about that.
Yes.
You write about that, about how they're drinking all the time, but then, they can jump into action when needed. They're fine the next morning. I mean,
it's not real. No, it doesn't work that way. We all know it doesn't work that way.
It's like being at Disney. We all know that's not real. So the mommy wine culture, I like to say I spearheaded the movement.
Yes.
This was me.
There it is.
Champagne is the answer.
There it is.
I had the T-shirt. I had the goofy napkins. I had all the things.
Yeah.
And it's when I figured it out, I got pissed.
Yeah.
I got pissed. And that's part of the reason I do what I do. And I have a passion to work with women, especially because we are the heart of the home. And again, not being old fashioned, like, we work too. We do it all, as Beyonce said, bear the children, get back to business, all that good stuff. But the ripple effect of women and drinking is something that I address. I know you address. It's everywhere. But anyway, I'll go off on the tangent.
It's huge, though, Victoria, because if you do look at the numbers, though, the women are increasing dramatically by being in AA groups. Like, it has increased exponentially over the last 20 years or so. And that is a direct consequence of the marketing to women. Like, it wasn't by accident. The alcohol industry made a decision 20 years ago that they were going to focus on women, and that has gotten us to where we are now.
Ken, I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but if you compare the numbers, the number of dollars spent on alcohol marketing targeting women, and then you look at the parallel line of the trajectory of alcohol-related hospital visits with women, they are like this.
I'm sure they are. I know
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Think about that. That is gross. It's gross. And so, we could go on and on. I want to hear about your book.
Yeah. So like, as I shared, Bamboozled is just for someone that's really looking to understand what they're giving up for alcohol. As I shared, how alcohol makes fools of all of us. It's the marketing of the alcohol industry and you thinking that, and I shared this back when I was a kid, when I thought about alcohol and I thought about worrying about if I have an issue with it, dare to say no to drugs, it was someone in a ditch, a hobo on the street, giving up his life because they thought alcohol was more important. So as long as I wasn't there, I was good. I had no concept of all the other things that you're giving up. So in Bamboozled, the book, our focus is highlighting what you're giving up, walking you through all the things that you are saying you don't want for your life when you're drinking. And the way we do that is in a series of stories. So in each chapter, we talk about an aspect of either finances, relationships. We talk about fitness. We talk about all the different aspects of life, your career that you go through. And we tell a story in which you typically have two people who are on various trajectories. And then we show you what happens when one person continues on the trajectory that they're on. And then we show you what the other person does when they make the decision, not that they're in the dumps, but that they know they can do better and where their life goes and what that could mean for you. So that's kind of the concept of how we tell the story. And then towards the end, we talk about the concept of the meds. And the meds is AINYF's help you quit strategy, where it's around mental engineering, right? Changing how you think about alcohol first, exercise commitment, because I just believe exercise is so important in regards to being successful when it comes to getting over alcohol or getting it out of your life. Diet improvement, because it's a wellness journey. I think it is all connected. Like it is not separate. Like you need to think about what you're putting in your body in all different aspects to be successful. And then success seeking, because you got to have a goal. I say the thing that scares that kind of makes people sometimes want to go back to drinking is that once they stop after maybe 6 months or a year, their life is good, but they lose that high. They lose that natural high of, man, life is fun, but life's not amazing. And I'm not drinking anymore. So I think if I go back to drinking, I could be better. Like I can control myself now. I've had enough time away from it. It won't take me over. So success seeking, what it is a big goal that you have that there's no way you can do it if you drink. So you got to have either somebody you want to become, something you want to accomplish. There's some magic or large, they call BHAG, right? Like huge goal that you want to accomplish that will say, there's no way I can go back to drinking and do that. So we talk about the meds at the end and how we can help you through that process. And then at the end, we just ask people to make the decision, right? We gave you the information. We're not trying to preach. We don't, you got to make the decision for yourself, because I truly believe nobody can really quit for someone else. You can only quit for yourself. You make the decision at the end. So and hopefully you can just help some people. Oh,
I know it will help people. I love the format of it. It sounds so engaging.
I hope so. Yeah. I tried to. Like I said, there's a lot of great writing out there. I wanted to do something that I felt like hadn't been done. I wanted to be a little unique, and I wanted, of course, to be my voice. And I just wanted it to speak to a different audience. So you will not. I mean, there's some examples, but you won't see the I hit this low type situation. We're not having those. We're just going to have certain situations in which people live in their life this way, someone else is parallel, and then they get to a fork in the road, and one person makes this decision, the other person makes this decision. Let's see how it plays out.
Love it. Love it. Ken, where can our listeners find you?
Yes. So I have a website, Ken M. Middleton. Go take a look at that. I do fitness and lifestyle, but Ken M for my middle name, McKimsey. So don't forget the M, Middleton.com. You can find me there on all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Ken McKimsey Middleton. And then if you put Ken and Middleton /book, you'll go to a sign up where you can get updates for a pre-advanced copy. So as I share the release date, I was hoping it was going to be the end of this year, but talking to my editor last week, it's just so involved doing, I mean, it's my first book, and you just don't know what you don't know, right? So it's a
Yeah.
lot. So they're telling me it's probably going to be February or March of 2023 before we'll release it. But I'm going to try to do like a chapter for people that sign up for the release
Cool.
pre-advance. So you can sign up and buy a copy before release, probably in like December. And then come next year, 2023, it will be released to the public.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listeners, if this resonates with you, the question is, what are you waiting for? You have the information. If you've listened to more than one episode of our podcast, you know you can't unsee it. Alcohol is not serving you. And then it becomes, are you going to settle for that? Or are you going to do something about it? Ken and I had different journeys, but we both made that choice that we were done with it. And I'd say we've all leveled up a bit. And that's what we see in our program with every single member. It's not just, are you an alcoholic? Is alcohol making your life better? If not, you put it down and you see what you can be. So again, feel free to hop on, book that call. Let's have a chat. If we're not a fit, that's okay. We've got lots of great stuff out on the internet, just like Ken does. We've got alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube, Twitter, at James Swanwick. You can put in at James Swanwick and you're going to see him everywhere. Mm-hmm. So thanks for listening. Ken, thanks for being here. I look forward to having you back again before your book is released. Thanks for what you do.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been awesome. I love it. And I'm excited to come back anytime you want me to, Victoria.
Absolutely. All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful fall afternoon. Enjoy the season and cheers to your health. Bye.
Hi there, this is James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you would leave a review. That will help us climb the rankings and get our show exposed to so many more people who could really benefit from the content. You can do that by going into Apple Podcasts, rating the show, writing a little one-sentence summary, and posting it. That would be so amazing. Thank you. Likewise, if you would like to schedule a 15-minute exploratory call and apply for our Project 90 program, then you can do so by going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. If you'd like to get the free guide, that is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Our YouTube channel is at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.